Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. What I have for you today is my preview video going into Game Week 28. I'm going to take a review look at how my team did in Game Week 27. Then we're going to talk team selection, transfer advice, and captaincy options moving forward. And with it being a hectic FA Cup weekend, there are loads of changes that I need to potentially make to my own team. So hopefully it does help you out with your thoughts as well. It is my fourth video in the last 5 days. So if you do appreciate the content, please do subscribe. It honestly does make a world of difference for a small channel trying to grow, and I do really appreciate all the support. So let's take a look at how my team did in Game Week 27. And in goal, got a clean sheet for Raya, which, because he's the most expensive keeper in the game, when he gets a clean sheet, you think, that's why I spend the money on Raya, for that clean sheet security. And then when he doesn't get a clean sheet, which is probably just as much as most goalkeepers, you think, why have I spent all that money on Raya? So at the moment, he's getting the clean sheets, and it is good. When I wildcard in a few game weeks, there is the chance to transfer him out, but he's definitely not someone that I'm looking at taking out on a free transfer anytime soon. In defence, I also had Gabriel, who naturally got a clean sheet as well as Raya. He also got a bonus point, which is really appreciated. The rest of the defence didn't do anything of note. Robinson started on the bench, came on and got booked, but my defence, they are quite cheap as a whole, and I've had players like Hall and Robinson since they're about 4.5 million, maybe even cheaper, I think, for Lewis Hall. So the fact that they get clean sheets and attacking returns, as regular as they do, means that they are great pickups still, and it still allows me to get in more expensive players higher up the pitch. So into midfield, and Captain Salah instead of Palmer, which we were always going to do, and it did make sense. It paid off. Palmer and Chelsea. Well, Chelsea scored 4 goals in their game, and the fact that Palmer wasn't involved in any of them was really surprising. And after that game, I was loving life, because Palmer blanked, and I've got Salah still to come. And part of the reason that I also captained Salah was that I didn't want to be sweating it out Saturday to Sunday if Palmer did blank, waiting for Salah to play. And naturally, if I'd captained Palmer, Salah would probably have got 4 goals. So in terms of his returns, an assist is a little disappointing, but at least it was the right decision between the two, and I'm not in a position to moan about getting any points in FPL, so I will absolutely take it. Cliver and Bruno got 10 points each, which is fantastic. Those players that sort of fill in around your premium players, you want them to get those attacking returns more often than not. Palmer is someone that if he didn't play Leicester in this game week, would probably be out of my team right now. I think I've held him for so long. I held him for the Southampton game, and you can see those sort of games in the near future, a few game weeks ago, and you're thinking, well, I've kept him for all season. There's no point taking him out now because there's a high chance he scores. So really, I'm hoping he does something against Leicester City. Up front is where we do have problems. Up front is probably where everybody has problems. Back in this game week, it's a week and a half ago, nearly, it seems ages ago now, Mateta did get another attacking return, and Isak didn't play, but it looks like he's healed from that injury. And then Cunha did play, but didn't get any attacking returns. So is a bit of a situation now up front, and we're going to talk more in detail about transfers for my strikers later in the video. But in terms of my ranking, I had a green arrow of about 80, 90k, which was awesome. And really happy with my team moving forward. Obviously, there's decisions to be made, but I do have a lot of chips still to use. And I think in terms of where I am, there's some good game weeks to attack between now and the end of the season to maximise my points. So in terms of captaincy and fixtures for this game week, it does look like another open and shut case in the terms of you just get Salah in and captain him. But it really depends on whether you think Liverpool are going to rotate for their game against Southampton, with it being in the middle of their Champions League fixtures, and whether you just go for Palmer instead, because Palmer has Leicester at home. So for me, I'll still be captaining Salah. I think with the season he's having, he's going to want to be playing and getting goals and getting that golden boot. Southampton is a prime game at home. When a triple captained Haaland in game week 3 against Ipswich, a lot of people were looking at the next, best single game week to use your triple captain, and they were saying Southampton at home. When Liverpool play Southampton at home, triple captain Salah. Now, it's obviously unfortunate that it's fallen in the Champions League fixtures, But for me, I think Liverpool will be more likely to start strong, get the lead against Southampton, and then take players off rather than rest players, risk a draw, and then have to bring them on. I think if Salah does start on the bench and Liverpool are winning 2 or 3-0, he'll probably stay on the bench, in which case you'd get your vice captain's points anyway, and that'll probably be, Palmer as vice. So that's my logic behind it. Obviously, there's a chance that Salah comes on for 20 minutes and doesn't get anything. But then even Salah for half an hour, 20 minutes against Southampton, that's a pretty good, chance of getting attacking returns anyway. So there will be chatter and talk about, do you captain Salah or not? People will just captain Salah at the end of the day. So whether they talk about it a lot or not, that will just be the captaincy. So that's what I'm going for. I'm just being honest about it. And then Chelsea will be my vice captain for Palmer. So in terms of my team for Game Week 28, it's looking all right, or at least it was looking all right, till we get to the strikers. Now, I do feel quite bad for people who, made the moves early after Game Week 27 and got in. I know people who got in Cunha and Mateta as soon as Game Week 27 finished, and now they're having to use a points hit to get them out again. Me personally, I'll be keeping hold of Mateta. I really hope he has a speedy recovery. It could have been a potentially horrendous injury, but as it stands, if it's just sort of like a wound to the side of his head, once that's healed, he should be good to play again. It's not like he's having to, rehab from a hamstring injury. And unless I get more news about him being out for longer term, and the injury is worse than the recovery is worse than what we're hoping for his sake, I'm just going to keep him in, because I was going to keep him for blank Game Week 29, and he was going to be on my bench for then. And it's unfortunate he misses the Ipswich game, because that was obviously a good fixture, but he's not someone that I'm thinking of transferring out. Cunha, on the other hand, you just look at that situation, you just think, come on, mate, why are you trying to ruin my FPL season here? You've been playing really well, and not only that, trying to ruin Wolves' season as well. They've got Everton, West Ham, and Southampton in the next 3. They're not done and dusted in the Premier League relegation race, so it is just a wild situation for me that he's gone and done that. And they must be fuming with him, really. So he is on the way out, and who do I get in, and who do you get in for him? Who are the best fixtures? Well, I've got 1.5 million in the bank and 3 free transfers. And you look at those fixtures and you think it's a shame to be missing out on them. So it'd be natural to think, what about Strand Larsen? You get Wolves fixtures. You probably get Cunha's minutes. Do you get Cunha's attacking opportunities? Well, that's where it falls down a little bit. And I would just not go for him, because he's not Matthias Cunha. And it doesn't just translate over like that, where you think, oh, he's going to get Cunha's points. When he isn't playing, when Cunha isn't playing, Wolves lose a lot of the creativity, and they're just not going to create the same sort of chances that they would do with him in the lineup. So whilst it might look like a good fixture on paper, or a good player on paper to get him in 3 game weeks time anyway, you're probably going to want to transfer him out as it is. So it maybe makes sense to get a striker in who you're going to want for a more of a long-term situation, which leads me to Chris Wood. Now, a downside of losing Cunha was that I was going to captain him in Game Week 29 for that Southampton game. An upside of getting Chris Wood is that I can captain him against Ipswich. The downside is he plays Man City in this immediate game this game week. Now, Man City aren't bulletproof in defence. Chris Wood can definitely score against them. But if I'm looking at just making a short-term move, like, are the players with better fixtures? One option that I could get in is get Haaland in. Now, I can afford it. I don't have 8 million in the bank, so I am having to make a sacrifice elsewhere if I went with this one, and it would be selling Palmer. If I sold Palmer and upgraded Cunha to Haaland, it'd give me 4.7 million left to get a midfielder in, which, to be honest, would probably be Enzo Fernandez, who does have Leicester at home still, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. But there aren't a lot of good options at that price, and it would also mean selling Palmer before that Leicester game. So is it just, shoehorning transfers in to take out one good player with a good fixture and getting another good player? Haaland is getting a lot of returns. I think he's got 7 or 8 goals or attacking returns in his last 8 games, which is really good. Got a lot of bonus points in that time as well, and does play Leicester in a couple of game weeks as well. So the downside for me is that I'm planning on bench boosting in game week 30, and you not only using 2 free transfers here, but having no flexibility with my budget remaining means that I won't have any extra money to upgrade my bench goalkeeper who isn't playing and upgrade somebody like Face. The plan was to wildcard after game week 30 as well, so I could just get Haaland in then and ride it out. So that's less likely to happen. It would probably be Chris Wood as my main option right now, and then the Haaland situation. Or do I go for someone like Cody Gakpo and just play the fixture? So a few game weeks ago, when I had 5 free transfers, I was able just to swap around one of my strikers just to the striker who had the best fixture each game week. And that's what I could do with Gakpo. Now, I know people will say, well, he might get rotated. And it's, yeah, he might get rotated. But at the moment, Cunha's not playing anyway. So I'm not getting any points from Cunha regardless. The upside is there for some big returns for points with Southampton. And let's say Salah is rotated. Let's say Liverpool do rotate their players. Well, then Gakpo might come in. He's actually been coming off the bench the last couple of games. So he is someone that I'll either hopefully get Salah's points or Gakpo's points. And then when he blanks in game week 29, I could then make the transfer to Chris Wood. So it still uses an extra transfer. There is the scope just to get Chris Wood in this game week and save a transfer. So I'll just need to double check with the moves that I want to make for game week 30. Keep an eye on someone like Mateta and his recovery as to whether he needs to come out, and then just how it plays into my overall strategy. Because if I can't make my bench boost work in game week 30, then maybe I'll just go for Chris Wood and save on making another transfer for that blank game week. And in that case, do I need to make any transfer at all? Could I just ride out this game week and just give everybody a little bit of a recovery? But let me know what you're doing with your transfers, with your strikers. If you're getting in Haaland, let me know who you're also taking out in order to fund it. Or if you've got 8 million in the bank, well done to you. But I do think it's an interesting situation. It does create a bit of differentials in FPL, and we are having to make decisions. And it does make it quite fun that there isn't a clear-cut option to go for. So that's my thoughts. Hopefully it's helped you out with your own thoughts. If it does, please do subscribe. Check out my other videos. The 2 wildcard videos we've put out this game week so far, as well as my chip strategy. They should be on the screen right about now. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you're going to have a good game week this game week and it's not causing you too many issues. And I will see you in the next one.